Welcome to the Growth Mindset Center, YouTube. Please take a moment of your precious time and generosity to click the subscribe button, comment. Thank you very much. Please listen to the next great content. Ever wonder why nobody and nothing will ever hurt you again feels more relevant the older and wiser we grow? What if the truth inside nobody and nothing will ever hurt you again is what you've needed all along? This isn't just advice, it's a wake-up call to realign your power, peace, and priorities. You've been through some things that almost broke you. Let's be honest. Some days it felt like your soul was bleeding. People you trusted walked away like you were nothing. Promises were made, and then shattered. And you were left standing in the middle of all that disappointment, wondering, why me? And you might have even cried out, God, where were you when I needed you the most? But listen to me now. That pain was never meant to destroy you. It was never your final chapter. It was a classroom. It was a refining fire. It was God taking you through something so you'd come out stronger, wiser, and more rooted in Him than ever before. Because you see, pain teaches us what comfort never could. It exposes the weakness in our foundation. It shows us who's real. It pulls us closer to the one who never leaves, never changes, never fails. You don't come out of that kind of pain without being transformed. You don't survive betrayal without learning how to discern spirits. You don't walk through loss without discovering what truly matters. And you certainly don't sit in the dark that long without finally realizing that God Himself is light. Oh, you learn in that pain. You learn who you are. You learn what you're worth. And you learn what you'll never allow again. You see, nobody and nothing will ever hurt you the same way again. Not because the world changed, but because you did. You stopped chasing what didn't chase you. You stopped trusting words without actions. You stopped trying to heal people who were committed to wounding you. And most of all, you stop believing that you hear in love. You don't have to prove your worth anymore. You just have to protect it. Some of you keep asking why you had to feel so much, why you had to lose so much, why your heart had to be broken into so many pieces. And I'll tell you why. Because God wanted you to understand what wholeness really feels like. He let things fall apart so when He put you back together, nobody could take the credit. But Him, the pain humbled you. It emptied you. And in that empty place, He poured in strength, courage, discernment, and clarity. See, the devil thought the pain would break you. He thought if he could just get you low enough, long enough, you'd forget who you were. But what the enemy didn't see coming was your comeback. Because now you don't operate from wounds. You operate from wisdom. Now you don't try to fix broken people hoping they'll love you. You set boundaries and you let God fight your battles. Now you don't run from the fire, you walk through it, knowing the fourth man is already in there with you. What used to shake you doesn't move you anymore. What used to confuse you now makes perfect sense. What used to keep you up at night doesn't even get your attention anymore. You're not bitter, you're better. You're not lost, you're led. You're not empty, you're filled. And you're not broken anymore. You're built up in the spirit of the living God. You didn't just survive what was meant to crush you. You were reborn in it. Every tear you cried was watering the ground for something greater. And now, when people come with the same game, same lies, same manipulation, you don't even flinch. You smile. You walk away because you've already been there. You've already felt that. And now you know you deserve better. You've been anointed to walk in peace. So no, nobody and nothing will ever hurt you again the way they once did, not because the attacks won't come, but because you know where your refuge is. You've learned how to rest in God, not in people. You've learned how to lean on His voice, not their opinions. You've learned how to walk with grace and authority, not guilt and fear. Because what used to break you now builds you. What used to be your weakness is now your wisdom, and what was once your pain has become your power. You know, there was a time when you believed every word people said. You gave your heart freely, trusted quickly, forgave easily. Even when the apology never came, you saw the good in people. Even when the bad was staring you in the face, you weren't weak, you were hopeful, you weren't foolish, you were faithful. You just hadn't learned yet what life would eventually teach you. Not everyone speaks truth. Not every smile is sincere, and not every presence brings peace. But now you see, not with bitterness, but with clarity. You've been through enough to know that words are cheap, and peace is priceless. You've been burned by charm, fooled by consistency, and left in the cold by people who said they'd never leave. And through all of that, something was being developed in you, something powerful, something divine. Discernment. See, discernment isn't just knowing right from wrong. It's knowing right from almost right. It's hearing the silence behind someone's words. It's seeing the spirit behind someone's actions. Discernment is the gift that comes through pain, prayer, and the presence of God. It's how you now recognize what you used to fall for. You no longer waste your energy explaining your value to people who can't see it. You no longer argue with lies just to prove a truth they're committed to denying. You don't react. You observe. You don't chase, you pray. You don't beg for closure. You bless them in silence and move on. Why? Because you finally understand that not everything deserves your presence. Not everyone deserves access to your heart. And let me tell you this version of you, this discerning, still spirit-led version of you, is untouchable. Not because life won't try to come at you, but because now you're anchored. You used to be tossed around by emotions, but now you're governed by wisdom. You used to rush into people's lives, hoping they'd see your worth. Now you stand still and let God reveal who's truly for you. Some folks look at you now and wonder why you're so quiet, so distant, so careful. They say you've changed, and yes, you have, but not in the way they think. You're not cold, you're covered. You're not distant, you're protected. You're not hard, you're healed. You just learned that discernment is how God preserves your peace. You remember how you used to sit awake at night replaying conversations in your head, trying to understand what you did wrong. But not anymore. Now, when something feels off, you don't wait for confirmation. You trust the Holy Spirit. You don't need proof when you've got peace. That's discernment. And that's growth. And here's the beautiful thing. Now that you see clearly, you forgive faster. You don't hold grudges. You just hold boundaries. You don't carry offense. You carry awareness. You're not living your life afraid of people hurting you. You're just no longer letting them get close enough to do it. You know what it means now to walk away without explanation, to say no without guilt, to choose peace over popularity. You know what it feels like to hear someone's flattery and still feel the warning in your spirit. You know when to stay silent, when to speak up, and when to walk away. That's not pride, that's not ego, that's discernment. And it took years, tears, and truth to get there. You were once open to anything because you didn't know the cost of everything. But now you weigh the spirit behind every connection. You look past the surface. You ask God, show me their heart. Not just their highlight reel, because you've learned that protection often comes in the form of red flags, quiet nudges, and doors that suddenly close. This kind of discernment is not something you read about in a book. It's something God taught you in the dark, in the quiet, in the moments when you had nothing left but Him. And now that you've got it, you'll never let it go. Because this discernment, it's your shield. It's your compass. It's your confirmation. So the next time the enemy sends someone wrapped in charm but carrying chaos, you won't even blink. You'll smile, nod, and move along. Not because you're afraid, but because you're aligned. Because now you know peace doesn't need to be loud, and protection doesn't always come with warning signs. Sometimes it just feels like a still, small voice saying, "Not this one." Sometimes we don't realize how much God protected us until we're standing on the other side of the storm. We think people walked away because of us. We think we weren't enough. We think we said something wrong, did something wrong, or loved too much. But the truth is, some of the people you lost were never sent to stay. They were sent to reveal, to shake things up, to wake you up, and to make room for what's real. You begged God to fix it. You cried for them. You fought for them. You kept extending grace while they kept giving you pieces of themselves. But the more you tried to hold it together, the more it slipped through your fingers. That wasn't a coincidence. That was God pulling apart what you were trying to hold on to because He knew something you didn't. He saw behind the mask. He heard the conversations you didn't. He felt the intentions they hid. And because He loves you, He stepped in. See, God doesn't always remove people gently. Sometimes He allows things to blow up right in front of you. Not to punish you, but to free you. He lets the betrayal sting so deep that you'll never go back to who and what broke you. He lets the silence speak so loud that you stop calling people who never call back. And sometimes He lets your heart break just enough so you finally lean on Him instead of leaning on people who were never built to carry you. You thought it was rejection, but it was redirection. You thought you were losing something important, but you were really gaining clarity. You thought you were being abandoned, but heaven was clearing your path because God doesn't let go of what's meant to stay, and He doesn't allow confusion where there's peace. If it had purpose in your future, He would have preserved it. But if He removed it, then it's because it was a threat to what He's building in you. God heard the lies you didn't catch. He saw the jealousy you overlooked. He noticed how they only celebrated you when they were ahead of you, and He watched how they changed the moment you started growing. That's why He stepped in. That's why He said enough. Not because He wanted you to be alone, but because He needed you to be protected. He had to isolate you before He could elevate you. Some of you have been mourning what God removed, not realizing it was mercy. You're still asking why they left, why it ended, why it had to be so painful. But what if the answer is simple? What if God said, "Because I love you too much to let you settle there. Because I've got better. Because that connection was draining you. Because their spirit was never aligned with your calling. Because I knew you wouldn't leave on your own. And now here you are still standing. A little bruised maybe, but stronger, wiser, clearer. Now you know what to watch for. Now you know what you won't accept. Now you don't just hear words, you watch behavior. Now you don't just feel drawn to people. You test the spirit. That's what divine removal does. It may feel like loss, but it's really training. It may feel like pain, but it's actually protection. You don't need everyone to understand the way God moved in your life. You don't have to explain why you walked away, why you stopped texting back, why you stopped tolerating what you used to allow. Let people talk. Let them think what they want. You're not trying to win people anymore. You're walking in purpose. You're keeping your peace. And if it cost you a few people, so be it. Because nothing and no one is worth forfeiting the future God is preparing for you. So don't mourn what God removed. Thank Him. Thank Him for the doors that closed. Thank Him for the people who left. Thank Him for the situations that didn't work out because you don't know what He protected you from. You don't know what He saw. You just know He's good. And if it's gone, Then it had to go. Because now you're free. There comes a moment in your walk when you stop asking why me and start declaring, God, I trust you. That's the turning point. That's when healing begins to take root. That's when the pain no longer owns you. You stop rehearsing the betrayal. Stop reliving the disappointment. Stop replaying the words that broke you and you hand it all over. You say, God, take it. Take the grief. Take the confusion. Take the fear. I don't want to carry this anymore. That's not giving up. That's giving in to the one who knows the end from the beginning. To the one who can take your ashes and turn them into something beautiful. To the one who knows how to redeem the broken pieces of your life and build something stronger than what was lost. There is nothing weak about surrender when your hands are lifting toward heaven. Because sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is let go. You see, we hold on so tightly to what hurt us. We try to control it, fix it, understand it. We try to piece it back together, hoping if we do everything just right, the story will end differently. But faith doesn't demand understanding. Faith says, even if I never get the answers, I will still trust the one who holds them. Faith whispers. It doesn't have to make sense for it to be part of God's plan. You won't always get the apology. You won't always see the justice. You won't always understand why people did what they did, but you will always have access to peace, real peace, peace that doesn't depend on external circumstances, peace that quiets the storm within you, even if the one around you keeps raging. That peace doesn't come from revenge. It doesn't come from getting even. It comes from surrender. Forgiveness isn't saying what they did was okay. It's saying you're no longer going to carry it. It's refusing to let their choices define your spirit. It's the moment you decide, I am more than what happened to me. I am not going to be bitter. I am not going to be bound. I am not going to be the victim in a story God has already redeemed. You might not be able to forget it. That's human. But forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting. It means releasing. It means you stop trying to control what only God can handle. It means you stop rehearsing the wound and start speaking the word. You begin to say, God, I believe you are still good. I believe you can still use this. I believe this pain will not be wasted. And when you truly let go, when you truly hand it over, there's a shift. You walk lighter. You smile deeper. You stop needing people to understand your journey because you understand He's guiding it. You no longer seek validation from those who once broke your spirit. You no longer need their approval or attention. You've been delivered from needing closure because God gave you peace. Letting go doesn't mean you don't feel it. It means you feel it and still trust God anyway. It means you cry when you need to, but you don't stay stuck in sorrow. You keep moving forward. One step at a time. Some days are slower than others. Some days it still stings, but every step forward is a step of faith. And every step of faith is a victory over the past. You start to recognize that healing doesn't mean the pain never happened. It means it no longer controls your future. You can remember it without reliving it. You can learn from it without being defined by it. And the more you surrender, the stronger your spirit becomes. The more you let go, the more heaven can take over. That's when you find out true strength was never in the grip. It was always in the release. Because when your heart is finally free, when the chains of resentment fall off, when the anger fades into peace and the fear is drowned out by faith, you step into a protection no man can give. A wholeness no situation can steal. That's when you truly become untouchable. You don't need to be strong on your own. You don't have to pretend you're okay when you're breaking inside. You don't have to wear that mask anymore. Like everything's under control when deep down you're tired, worn out, and wondering if you'll ever feel safe again. Let me tell you something. Real strength isn't found in pretending you're fine. Real strength is found in who you run to when you're not. And there's only one place strong enough, deep enough, eternal enough to carry the full weight of your pain, your questions, and your healing. It's in the arms of the one who made you, who sees you, and who has never left your side, not even for a second. God doesn't expect you to fix yourself. He knows you can't. That's why he says, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest, not rules, not religion, not more pressure, rest. Rest from the thoughts that keep you up at night. Rest from the guilt that keeps replaying in your mind. Rest from the people who disappointed you, abandoned you, betrayed you. Because life will break you down if you're carrying it without him. It'll convince you you're alone. It'll whisper lies that sound like truth, lies like you're not enough, or you'll always be broken, or you can't trust anyone. But when you start spending time in the presence of God, real, quiet, vulnerable time, you realize something. You were never created to fight alone. The presence of God doesn't mean you won't face storms. It means you won't face them unarmed. It means that when the waves come, you've got an anchor. When the arrows fly, you've got a shield. When the night is long, you've got a light that will never burn out. You've got peace that doesn't depend on people, joy that doesn't depend on circumstances, and strength that doesn't run out when yours does. There is no therapy like time spent in his presence. There is no medicine like the whisper of his voice reminding you, "I am with you." You can cry there. You can ask questions there. You can be silent and still be heard because he doesn't need you to perform. He wants you to be real. You don't need to know the right words to say. You just need a willing heart, even if it's trembling. And here's the beautiful thing. When you've been in his presence long enough, things start to change. Not always around you, but inside you. You start to walk differently. You carry yourself differently. You stop reacting the way you used to. You stop needing constant validation. You stop chasing people who never saw your value. Because the more time you spend with the one who created you, the less time you spend trying to prove your worth to people who didn't, you begin to understand that no weapon formed against you will prosper. Not because you're tough, but because you're covered. Covered by grace, covered by mercy, covered by truth, covered by a love so powerful that no rejection, no betrayal, no heartbreak can override it. That's the safety of his presence. It becomes your home, your hiding place, your source. You don't have to announce that you've changed. You don't have to explain yourself to people who never took time to understand you. Let them talk. Let them assume while they're watching you from a distance, God is lifting you in secret. He's rebuilding what they tried to break. He's pouring healing into places that used to ache. And when you walk out of that presence, when you rise from your knees or lift your eyes from that silent prayer, you may not have all the answers, but you'll have peace. And that peace will guard your heart like nothing else can. That peace will guide your decisions, your relationships, your direction. That peace will protect you from being manipulated, from falling back into what he already freed you from. So if you want to live in a place where nobody and nothing can ever hurt you again, make the presence of God your refuge. Stay there, dwell there, cry there, heal there. Let that be your hiding place. And you will find out not only are you safe, you are unshakable. Nobody and nothing will ever hurt you again. It's not just something to hear, it's something to live, apply, and become. Thank you for listening, and subscribe. Comment on the channel.